Hey everyone, how are you guys doing? Today we are back in Naturalis. After a forced month-long hiatus, we are back and we're going to be building or rebuilding the Capuchin monkey habitat. So let's get started with that. Alright, I hope you guys are ready, and if you're ready, you have probably already hit the like and subscribe button. But anyways, when it came to the rebuilding of the Capuchin monkey habitat, we're going to redo it slightly different than how I previously made it, because previously there was already a Capuchin monkey habitat here, but then my PC turned to the dark side and refused to load up the newer shapes. Yeah, the newer shapes are just completely gone, so now we're rebuilding a lot of stuff, starting with this Capuchin monkey habitat. Now, the reason why I still kept it the Capuchin monkey habitat is because I wanted monkeys near the entrance of Naturalis, and because the entrance area, or like the central area as I call it for Naturalis, is all like South American, North American animals, the Capuchin monkey was the only animal or monkey that really worked here. So it was just like, yeah, we are going to have to rebuild the Capuchin monkey habitat. I probably said Capuchin monkey 500 times already, but don't keep track of that. But the reason why the Capuchin monkey habitat is back, I have explained now. Now, when it comes to like, oh, we're going to try and do it a slightly different. Yeah, I want it to be a little bit more open and a little bit more, like, not as intimidating. Like the last time that I built the Capuchin monkey habitat, it had this like big black sort of awning and like viewing area. And the paths just, there was a dead end that didn't really make sense. Because here's the thing when it comes to paths in Naturalis, I usually try to avoid dead ends. Because it's very difficult to, or at least for me, to decorate those. Because it's just like, alright, there's nothing going on here besides maybe a few benches. So dead ends in a way can then be useful if you want to like have like a little bit of like a quiet area. But here we are at the start of Naturalis, or at the entrance of Naturalis. There's already a sort of square at the front where you can sit down. I also changed the canal side just to have a little bit more of that quiet space. But when it came to the habitat, I just really wanted it to all flow into each other. No dead ends here or there. And if there is a little bit of a dead end, it's usually those little, not viewing areas, but it's like a little bit of like a small part of the main part where there's like animal information and such. Now, another thing that I did is I changed how this habitat worked with the outside of Naturalis. Because previously, the habitat was just sort of open, like you could see in the habitat. But as far as I remember, there was like an extra fence still. And now it's just like, no, we're going to take this habitat all the way to the fence. All the way to the outside fence. So now if you're, let's say, waiting for family members or group members when you're visiting Naturalis, you can already see the monkeys very easily. And I also built a camera there because you don't want people to get into the zoo when you don't want them. Usually at night, because there's probably a lot of expensive equipment. Though, here's the thing. This video is already going to be quite long. I probably won't have a voice left after I finish this voiceover. But there's a lot of stuff that I had to cut out. Because it's just like, oh yeah, do you guys want to see me build 3 different kinds of air conditioning units for on top of the roof? Because of course I also need to redo the roofs of the adjacent buildings. Yes, I said adjacent. For once my brain actually knows words. And yes, for me that's quite an achievement, because usually Poison doesn't know words. What the fuck is English? What the fuck are words? But yeah, for the adjacent buildings, I also had to redo the roof. Now, when it comes to the actual habitat itself, to try and keep a little bit on track, I wanted the building to basically be, again, an organic shape, follow the curves of the paths. And the way that I always make these curves, because people are still really interested, like, hey, how do you make these circular buildings? It's the column, the mud brick columns. It's basically just making a pie slice and then rotating that slice around until you get a full circle. That's like the quickest way to explain the mud brick pillar technique. You build your wall piece on the mud brick pillar, and then you slide it outwards from the mud brick pillar until you have like the diameter that you want, and then you copy it around, or copy it and then rotate it, and then you have the full diameter. So always keep in mind with this technique, how far you drag the piece away from the mud brick pillar, it's only half of the diameter. But because I have made these sort of stencils in a way for the paths, it's a lot easier for me to like make it so that they are I want to say snatched to the paths, but that they are just like lined up with the paths. This is also why all of the paths in Naturalis are using the angle snap. So there's no like free-form paths in a way, but you don't really see that, because I don't think anyone is going to be around with like a measuring tape of like, this is not a freeform path, this is a 15-degree path. And yes, right now to the side of Naturalis, all of those stencils are just laid out. And it's just like, oh yeah, this is a 4-meter path with 2 bends, which means it's 2 snappies. I don't know how you call it. It's just like, oh yeah, it's not a 15-degree bend, it's a 30-degree bend there. And I have like all of these stencils laid out. So I constantly just get those stencils, line it up to the path, because it's basically just, I call them stencils. It's basically just a mud brick pillar in the center. Then there are these wooden beams that follow the curve of the path, so that's how I can line it up with the path. And then I delete those beams, but I keep the mud brick pillar, because then I have the center point of that path, or of that circle. And then I build from there. And that's where I start to lose it completely. This is also the reason probably why I never made a tutorial, because I made a tutorial a long time ago that I tried to keep it as short as possible, but that might have also resulted in it becoming completely not helpful at all. But yeah, so there is a tutorial on how I make these circular things, but I might want to redo it because I don't know if it actually helps. Also, if people want to see like, oh yeah, Canal, like the old fantasy style that I used to build. Yeah, the tutorial was made in Canal. I made a village well with that tutorial. But yeah, the circular buildings, to me, it's just a lot more interesting to make circular buildings, especially for like animal habitats and such. It's just, you can make so many interesting shapes with circular buildings, and then to like smash some like straight paths or straight things in it, or straight walls in it, to create accent walls and such. Now, I do have to mention here that you will see climbing structures here already while I'm doing the paths. These are temporary, or at least the positioning of the climbing structures is definitive, but this is my weak point when it comes to Planet Zoo. It's just like building climbing structures. The way that I've come to sort of like the climbing structures that I build right now is I look up cat balls. I don't look up actual like monkey habitats or like actual climbing structures in zoos. No, I look up cat balls, because usually those are like weird, and I like things that are like a little bit weirder, a little bit just, I mean, cats in themselves are just weird creatures. Like cats, they just have this air of arrogance, and then they run headfirst into a wall, just like completely smush their face because they saw like a bug. Cats are idiots, but lovable idiots, because they're just like, are cats like the arrogant himbos of the world, or of the animal world? Maybe. Dogs are the actual just himbos, probably. anyways, back to the actual building part. So I've explained the sort of explained how I make the circular stuff. But when it came to the actual Capuchin monkey habitat just in itself, a lot of it you can see like, oh yeah, this is kind of reminiscent of the old version of the Capuchin monkey habitat that we sadly lost. Like the Capuchin monkey habitat was never on the list of redoing. The nearby penguin habitat right now is on that list. But I don't know, I'm just going to keep away from that for a little bit, because I don't want to keep redoing old habitats. But sadly, the Capuchin monkey habitat was a victim of the PC turning to the dark side, where my hard drive got fried and my save files up to November, well, after November, were just gone. I literally have no idea where they went. Because it's supposed to save in like the cloud, like the Steam cloud. It didn't do that. So now I'm just frantically, every time I save, I also make a backup off of my hard drive onto a separate drive so that Naturalis is never going to befall the same tragedy again. I'm using a lot of expensive words. What's going on? Maybe that 1 month hiatus is doing something. Yeah, this feels weird. For me to like use, oh yeah, adjacent and all of those words, it's just, no. Let's talk about chicken nuggets again, because I like being a dumbass here. Yeah. Anyway, so now we actually have the definitive climbing structures. But I'm still not 100% like, oh yeah, I love these climbing structures. I think for me, climbing structures will forever be something that I'm extremely critical about when it comes to what I built. It's always just not 100% perfect. And then I need to realize, yeah, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be there. I think that's from a Disney movie, so don't think I'm smart here. That's probably from like... Is it a Disney movie or is it just a YouTube video? I don't know. But it's like, it's not something that I made up. It's something that I heard somewhere. So no, I am not smart. And if I ever say something that sounds smart, call the cops, because it's not me. Well, most often I would say, fact check yourself. Or fact check it yourself. Because whenever I say something that sounds fakely smart, I'm just one person on the internet who has a little bit of, well, confidence. Well, not a little bit of confidence. Maybe a little bit too much confidence. But yeah, if you say something with confidence on the internet, there will be people who believe you, even if you say something completely wrong. But anyways, back to the actual building, and I did mention, oh yeah, I have a list of habitats that I want to redo. Most of them have already been deleted. Some of them I was forced with because of the computer to the dark side thing. Others I just straight up deleted because I wanted to do them better, and also, why did I make a snow leopard habitat that just looked so weird? Like the indoor area was just like a cave. But how were the staff going to get into it without being mauled by a snow leopard? I do want snow leopards again, or I'm just going to replace them with a Siberian tiger. I don't know. This is like really just a thing that's like the biggest question that I always have is like, what animal am I going to build for? Because I don't want to build for every animal in Planet Zoo, but I do want to have like a nice roster of like, oh yeah, I don't want this area to just be tigers or just to be cats. I want it to be kind of mixed. That's like, oh yeah, if you have a snow leopard habitat, the next habitat is not a tiger, it's like a bear or a pangolin or something. So that it's like nicely spread out. This is also why the central area was just like, yeah, this is going to be South and North American, because I'm not going to be building a North American section or a South American section, because I do want to eventually finish Naturalis before my PC just starts rioting again. But that also means like, oh yeah, some areas of the world are not going to have a section in Naturalis. I think the sections that I have right now is like Southeast Asia, just like the highlands, like Central Asia more. Then there's Australia or Oceania, then there's Africa, then there's Europe, and then there's Africa? Did I already say Africa? Again, I am not smart. Sometimes I am. When it comes to real life stuff, I can be smart, but here I just like to turn my brain off and just ramble. But yeah, here are those little dead ends that I mentioned earlier on. If you're keeping up, which kudos if you are. Like, that's probably just like an Olympic sport by this point. Of like, oh, can you keep up with Poison? Or is your brain going to get fried? If your brain is fried right now, don't forget to like and subscribe button. Anyway, so these are the little dead ends that I mentioned, where it's just like a little bit of a part of the main pot where there's like the animal information. And now we're moving on to the indoor section. I have no idea why I decided to make the walls these sort of tree bark walls. I was just like, oh yeah, I want a bit of a forest vibe because monkeys. For some reason, monkeys are always in a forest for me because they climb. Even if the Japanese macaque is more of a mountain monkey, ape, something. Same thing with alligators and crocodiles. I will never keep them apart. I think it's like gorillas and what are the rest? The orangutans and the chimpanzees are like apes, and then you have monkeys, which are usually a lot smaller. I don't know. But yeah, I have no idea where I got this idea for the bark walls. This was literally just like, oh yeah, this is 3 I'm building. I can never explain what I'm building, but I like how it ended up. Now, this is also like a quarter of this video was made in terror. Because a quarter of this video I tried to build while my PC was basically having an aneurysm. Now my PC is fixed. It was pretty much just like after the hard drive got fried, it probably just sent a shockwave through my entire PC, which highlighted other issues that I was having, but just didn't show any concrete symptoms of. And it was just, oh yeah, a faulty PSU or like a power thing that you have in your PC. That thing was faulty, which is probably also why my hard drive got fried, because it shut down and didn't, of course, correctly shut down, which fried my hard drive. But because of all of that, the faulty PSU was just further highlighted because it didn't shut down as much as before my hard drive got fried. But besides the faulty PSU, it was also a faulty, well, not faulty graphics card. It was just that like the thermal paste on the graphics card was basically a hockey puck probably, because that thing got to 100 degrees. But yeah, it was basically just 4 weeks, I think 4 weeks, of just bringing my PC to the shop, trying something, bringing it back, testing it. Oh, didn't work, bringing it back to the shop again. It was 4 weeks of that and trying to single out, like, all right, literally every component in my PC could be the cause of these shutdowns, of these crashes. And then it's just like, oh yeah, all right, it's not my CPU. That we cleaned that out. We changed that. Like, it's not that. It's not my memory or like my RAM. It's not this. It's not that. It's not this. And then finally, it was just like, all right, we cleaned up your graphics card, put in new thermal paste. That's halted the shutdowns a lot. I still couldn't play Planet Zoo, but like a lot of other games I could still play then. But it even had issues still with 10-year-old games. And yes, I started playing Settlers Rise of an Empire again because I thought like, oh yeah, that's like a 10, almost 15-year-old game. That's going to be fine. I also became addicted to Settlers The Rise of an Empire again. So that's why I'm recording this voiceover at midnight, which I should never do, but you are getting midnight poison here. But yeah, I've gotten addicted to that again. But before I got my PSU fix, it even shut down on that. Not frequently. It was like, all right, after a long play session, it shuts down. Or if I am like going through missions fast. I also now want to do like Settlers 5, not Rise of an Empire, Heritage of Kings. I know that those two settler games are not like settler games, or at least are not seen as like the typical settler games, which is actually probably why I like them, because the original settler games, like I bought the settler-esque game from the people who made the original Settlers, and I just didn't find it interesting, because I'm a city builder more, and I want to just, I don't know, actually. I can't really explain it. I just didn't like the older games, and I don't like this newer game. Not saying that they are bad games, they're just not my taste. But I like the games that are seen as not really settler games, or not really following the same things as Settlers, if that makes sense. But anyways, back to the actual building. So this is the indoor section, and yeah, this is where the cat balls came in. I think you can see that as well. It's like slightly monkified, or monkeyfied, that's probably not a word, but yeah, this is cat balls. Like, I actually wanted to put like the ropes on the poles, because that's like the cat scratching post. But it made sense with the monkeys. However, when you put those rope circles, or have those rope around the pole, those aren't actually climbable. Even though that it makes perfect sense for those rope things to be climbable, it's just not. Yeah, I wanted to make a scratching post for my armor leopards once, and then I realized this doesn't work. Why? Because this is just rope. Probably the most climbable stuff out there. But that's just like, yeah, this is Planet Zoo. Sometimes you just have to finagle things to get things to work, and sometimes it's just like, yeah, this just doesn't work. Even though, here's the thing, Naturalis is probably never going to have like guests unless it's like cinematics, of course, but even then it's just like, do I want to risk the frame rates? But when it comes to like habitats, I'm like, oh yeah, it needs to be actual the size that the animals want. It needs to be completely functional, even though it would be far prettier if it wasn't. Because the cats scratching post rope thingies, yeah, that's definitely a word. But those would be so pretty and would actually feel so realistic, especially in like a cat-like habitat, like if for like tigers, armor leopards, snow leopards. Makes perfect sense to have those. But Planet Zoo says nope. And now I'm sad. Anyways, now we're back to the habitat and to the aviary section. I know Kane is going to drag me over the coals because I forgot the word for whatever it's called. It's not an aviary, but it's like a covered habitat. He is allowed to, but then I have the memory of a goldfish. I have so many times walked down the stairs thinking like, oh, I need to do this. As soon as I'm down the stairs, I'm just like, what did I want to do again? Most frequently, I have that when I'm opening the fridge, though. Like, when it's late or it's very early and you're like, oh, I want to get some food. You open the fridge and I'm like, what did I want again? I did have chicken nuggets, though, so I'm happy. They were frozen chicken nuggets. I'm also still salty because I finally got McDonald's chicken nuggets after a long time. Because even though I talk about them a shit ton, I rarely get them because I'm just like, yeah, I have food at home. Yes, it's not because, oh, I like to cook or something. It's because I'm stingy as fuck. I'm just like, I don't want to spend the money. Even though my regular order in McDonald's is like barely over 12 euros. because I always just get 20 chicken nuggets and fries. But the reason that I'm salty is because the last time that I went to McDonald's, or well, the recent time, which is 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I finally went to get McDonald's for after months. They forgot my fries. And now I had to eat chicken nuggets with rice because I'm Indonesian or half Indonesian, which means there's always rice at home. So yeah, my go-to meal when I don't have anything like ready is just fried rice, because it's so easy to make and it's so tasty if you know how to make it. But yeah, anyways, so finally had chicken nuggets, got scammed because they forgot my fries, and I only realized that they forgot my fries when I got home. And then I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to go there for fucking fries. But I'm still salty because I wanted fries. And now I have frozen chicken nuggets. With tiny potatoes. Yeah, tiny potatoes. Like they tiny cubes of potatoes. And I just dunk it all into the fryer. I don't eat like this regularly before anyone questions my health. It's just I felt a craving for it. Most times I eat slightly healthier. Anyways, back to the actual build, because chicken nugget talk is over. If I talk about chicken nuggets again in this video, one of you guys get to slap me. Yeah, let's just go with that. Even though most of you guys are probably on like the other side of the world or anything. Yeah, but... And no, it doesn't accumulate. Before anyone asks, if I keep talking about chicken nuggets, it's not like, oh yeah, he talked about chicken nuggets. One person gets to slap him. He talks about chicken nuggets again. 2 people get to slap him. It doesn't accumulate like that before anyone starts building up an entire mob that's just lining up to slap me. Nope, doesn't accumulate. It's per video. I should stop talking about letting people slap me. Anyways, back to the actual habitat. So I made the meshed, the mesh over top of the aviary. Again, Kane is going to rake me over the coals because I forgot a netted enclosure. Is that it? I don't know. But it was fairly easy to make because... so I use all of the plaster blocks usually when it comes to this. When it comes to walls, like the plaster blocks, the plaster walls, I make the plaster walls. Now, 2 of the plaster wall pieces thick, or I think it's not the plaster walls as in the grid piece. It's the plaster walls as in the freeform piece that you. It's not, I think, even in the wall section. It's in like the detailing section of the catalog. But I make it 2 pieces thick because it's a lot easier to then hide stuff in it, such as this mesh. So I can be a little bit faster with building this. And it's also a lot easier because this is just flat. Like the armor leopard habitat, that was a curved structure, which is a nightmare to do with mesh. But because this is a flat top over the habitat, it's a lot easier. And because the actual curved pieces are quite small, this habitat came together really fast and would have been finished 3 weeks ago if my PC just didn't start talking like, I am your father. That's probably not actually a line. Is that not like a Mandela effect where everybody misremembers that line? I'm saying that without ever seeing the movie. I have never seen a single Star Wars movie in full. Not even the recent ones, not the old ones, no one. Also no Star Trek. I'm just like, yeah, if there's no swords and armor and like castles and such, it's generally hard for me to keep my attention. I really like historical dramas and fantasy and such. And as soon as it's like, oh yeah, there's guns. Yeah, but like sword fights. Like, we need more swords nowadays. Like, this is something I hit my mic. Sorry for that. Maybe I just blown all of you guys' earsides. But like, why did we stop things with swords? Like, I once saw a picture of like a couple getting married, and they were like, they had swords, and they both looked like fucking Galadriel with swords. And I was just like, yes, that's awesome. Just swords, weddings, just like, yeah, instead of, having a soppy, like, vows and such, duel your partner for the right to marry them. Your parents also have to duel each other to prove that the family is worthy of being joined. Just duels. Not to the death, potentially, but just more swords. Swords are cool. Bows also, but swords especially. I want swords. I want a sword. Not a rapier. Well, rapiers are also fun, but I first would want like a big Zweihander. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it's like the big one that you have to wield with two hands, and it is as tall, or not, well, probably even taller than me, because I'm 5'7". I don't actually believe that. I think I'm 5'6" sometimes. Like, here is the thing. My, like, idea, and no, this is not doxing myself, hopefully, but it's like, oh yeah, you're 1 meter and 85 centimeters. Am I though? Because my sister is supposed to be smaller than me, but we're roughly the same size. So I am always questioning my actual height. And then there's also, of course, like, oh yeah, I have to probably say it to you guys in feet or something. Or like, oh yeah, I'm 5'7". It's like, nope. I'm 185 centimeters. But I really feel like I'm smaller than that. Yeah, I don't lie about my height. I'm just like, yeah, fuck it, I can't chase it. I don't care. But yeah, I should probably stop talking about that, because otherwise I'm going into another like rabbit hole where I will just keep talking about strange stuff. But then that's also just like, that's this channel. It's just me building pretty stuff and just rambling. Just like, sometimes, well, actually a lot of times I'm just thinking like, am I just a guy where you guys tune in and it's just like you turn your head off? Actually, that's also the goal of the channel, so why am I confused by that? It's just like, yeah, I want to make videos where you can just turn your brain off, because there's so much shit going on in the world. This is the one place where you just don't have to think. Because thinking while watching my videos or listening to my videos is actually a hazard, because I will create a black hole in your mind and it will just suck out everything. Probably already did that. So anyways, have fun with that. These voiceovers are usually that chaotic that it's just like, are we sure Poison is not supposed to be in a mental hospital? Maybe, but this is more fun. Planet Zoo is a mental hospital in a way for me. It's this or arson. Before anyone starts wondering, that's a joke. I'm not committing arson on the... I was going to say on the daily, which doesn't make that work better. I'm not committing arson. Fire is fun, though. Again, I'm not doing any kind of arson. I'm not setting anything on fire. I am just a person who, like, if you put me in front of a fireplace, I will be entertained. Especially if you give me a stick, and then I poke the fire and see the stick burn. Yeah, this is also why I always want to light the barbecue. Fire is just entrancing to me for some reason. This really doesn't help with the Poison might be a psychopath. Well, not psychopath, but might be... Well, idiot is just certain, but insane still being questioned. yeah, I'm not refuting being an idiot. I like being an idiot, especially with these videos. But anyways, let's move on to what we're building. This was the terror phase. Like, this is just... If you wanted to show me anything that to like scare the hell out of me, it was just these clips. The coming up clips are all, well, almost all, until we start building like the exterior of the habitat with like the plants and the canal side. All of those clips, when it came to the roof and such, are made when my PC was dying or, well, shutting down constantly. So this was all made just like, all right, we tried to fix one thing, or we tried one thing to like single out what component of my PC was causing the shutdowns. But then, of course, you need to try the PC to see if it fixed anything. And this was all made during that. It was just like, all right, I need to build something small that I know will not completely destroy me if my PC shuts down and it doesn't save. But also something that kind of works to what I was going to build. So it was just like 2 different air conditioning versions. Well, actually 3, but I already made one earlier on. But yeah, just making air conditioning things, roof stuff. I am actually thinking of like putting that into like one blueprint and just shoving that onto the workshop. Like all of the air conditioning units. I've made 3. I made a tall one, I made a regular size one, and then I made a long one. Tall and long are the same thing, but like I made a broad one. Let's put that. Basically, I picked up the tall one and threw it over, although it's still a completely new design. And then I made another, what's it called? Solar panel. That's it. Yeah, earlier on I knew all of the words. Now it's just like, yeah, what's ABC? I don't know. But yeah, I made another solar panel. This one is not as piece heavy because the last solar panels that I made for this habitat, actually, like for the previous iteration of this habitat. Again, the fancy word, iteration. Why the fuck am I talking like this? Poison, you just ranted about not getting all of your fries when you ordered chicken nuggets. Also, no, you're not going to slap me now. Just no. Anyways, so yeah, the last version of these solar panels were like 1,000 pieces each. I think these are like less than 100. I think. I mean, if you pause the video at just the right moment, you can probably see it. But yeah, I wanted solar panels again because it's Naturalis. They're going to get fancy with even the electricity. And also there's just a lot of roof space here. They would want to use that somehow. And hey, if Naturalis can make their electricity bill a little bit smaller by providing their own electricity via solar panels, they will do that. Because profit, that's a main thing when it comes to making decisions in not just Naturalis, but just like any business. Because a zoo at the end of the day is also a bit of a business. And you have to make profit, otherwise you're not going to be able to expand. You're also not going to be able to, keep improving your zoo. Which is, of course, a main thing that you would want to have. Like, keep improving your zoo, keep adding new habitats, keep improving, like, the existing habitats that you have and such. But yeah, anyways, so this is pretty much just like, oh yeah, we're going to redo the roofs again because we lost the previous iteration. Because hard drive just went bye-bye. But I just thought, alright, I didn't touch the warehouse roof in the first iteration. Because I was scared to heck of it, because whenever I got close to the wall with the warehouse, the game would freeze. And this time I was just like, alright, I'm going to figure out why does this area freeze constantly. And I took out the warehouse shelves, and now it doesn't freeze. So there's something in there. They weren't piece heavy or anything, but there was something of like a combination of that area with those pieces and such that just didn't want to go with each other. I also made safety things. Like, you see these a lot on roofs where you are able to get on, where like the not corners, the, what's it called? The edges of the roof, they have like these ropes somewhat on them. I don't know if it's actually fully for safety, but it feels like it's for safety, so I'm just going to assume that. I don't know much about construction. I'm an urban designer. I don't usually design buildings. I usually design entire neighborhoods and then let an architect actually design the building. And then there's even then architects, well, they probably think of that. But anyways, so this was still, now we're moving to the exterior of the habitat, the canal side, because I wanted to redo that as well. So this is how I'm improving on my previous iteration of the Capuchin monkey habitat, because I didn't touch the canal side. I was just like, yeah, we're just going to stick to this habitat. But here I was just like, all right, first off, my PC is angry at me, so I have a lot of time, because we need to fix my PC first before I even want to attempt to make a video, because Planet Zoo takes a lot. Making sure that these videos are like, what is it? What is it called again? Now I'm just losing all sense of words, I think. But after you edit the videos, you then put them into a program that makes them into an actual video. Yeah, that also takes a lot of resources. So it's just like, yeah, I'm not even going to attempt that. So I'm going to have a lot of time to build stuff here. So I'm also going to do this canal side. This is also where I figured out that penguin habitat next door is a little bit... I have no idea what happened there, but it's a little bit funky if you look at the things closely. So I might want to not fully redo it, but like slightly modify it, smooth it out in some places, just clean it up a little bit. But when it came to the canal side, this part, I think right now is when my PC was fixed, because yes, I would never attempt to make these benches if my PC was still like, alright, we are not sure if it's fixed. But I think at this point, my PC was fixed. And again, yes, I have the memory of a goldfish, so it might have been right before it, or this is right after. I think right after my PC got fixed when I got my new PSU. But yes, these are benches, because I wanted this canal side to be a little bit more functional, but still, because on the other side of this canal, there's basically the entrance to Naturalis, but also the staff entrances for like the tickets houses or the ticket booths. So you don't want the guests to see that. So all of the benches are, of course, turned towards the main part. There's the backing of the benches, which is a little bit higher, which looks nice, but also makes it so that you're less likely to turn around and be able to see what's behind it. And then there's, of course, a lot of plants and all of that. Now, I did also, in a way, round out the corners of the canal side so that it doesn't feel as harsh, and especially going from the entrance, it feels more inviting to also go towards the Capuchin monkey habitat. Because if that was just a sharp corner, it would feel kind of like a wall forcing you to go straight on, which then makes you ignore the Capuchin monkey habitat. There's a lot of like subtle things when it comes to construction that's like subtly kind of making you go places. And as soon as you understand those things, it's like, oh yeah, you see them everywhere then. But yeah, just putting a lot of dirt in, a lot of mulch, and I just wanted to make this canal side pretty. And then I also thought of like, oh yeah, insects. Because you want butterflies, you want bees. Anyone who hates bees, unless you're allergic to them, bees are amazing. Especially really fuzzy bees. Like fuzzy bees, like I'm not talking about hornets and wasps, those are evil. Even though they're still necessary for the environment, but they are evil. But bees are just nice. And especially the fuzzy ones are cute. Like, this is the thing. I used to be afraid of spiders. I sort of learned myself out of that because I realized tarantulas are fuzzy. And most of the really big ones aren't as dangerous as the tiny ones. Yes, if they are really tiny, but like very sleek and such, they still kind of freak me out, but not to the extent that I used to. I will still, if like a hornet or a bee comes around me really fast, I will still of course swat at it. But if it's a bee, I'm just like, yeah, you're cute. You're also really helpful in the garden and all of that. The environment and such. But yeah, also with like snakes. Snakes I never found scary. I always found them really pretty, and then I saw enough pictures of them looking really dopey that I was just like, I can't be afraid of these things. They literally, a lot of the time, just look like there's a single brain cell bouncing in between their ears. Snakes don't have ears, they have holes, Poison. That's still somewhat ears, though, right? Anyways, but yeah, I basically made 2 insect houses and then made a butterfly feeding station where staff, probably at the beginning or something, they put like some kind of syrup or something that the butterflies really like to attract all of them, because it's always nice to just have butterflies flying around you while you're in a zoo. If you're terrified of insects, it's also really funny for others to see you screech. Yeah, I might be slightly evil, but I'm chaotic evil. So, yeah, if you're scared of butterflies, I want to see you in Naturalis now, because why not? I also added butterflies to the insect houses because I was just like, I want these to have a little bit of personality, because a lot of like modern stuff is a little bit personality less, like they don't really feel human because it's like really straight lines, really clean lines, and it's usually like metal, glass, or like really clean wood. So trying to add personality to that with like colorful butterflies or more wood tones, and like trying to make modern stuff that doesn't feel like it's a hospital is like a main focus with Naturalis. But I also just had a lot of fun with these insect houses. I also might want to drop those on the workshop. I should really just drop a lot of more stuff on the workshop, but a lot of the habitats wouldn't really work if you take them out of Naturalis because it's like really strange shapes. But like small things like this with the butterfly or insect houses, all of the roofing stuff, I could drop that on the workshop if you guys want to see that. But I'm not sure. First, I want to see if my PC is going to be able to handle making these videos. It should work, because my PC, as far as I know, is fully fixed. Like, it handled building this fine, which, like, Planet Zoo for me, or for my PC, is like the highest test I can give it. Because Planet Zoo in itself is not a really heavy game. Naturalis, though, is. I also wanted to make a pineapple juice shop, but that's for maybe in the next video. Anyways, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. Also, if you want to see more, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And also, there's the memberships where if you want emotes, there's emotes there. Anyways, have a wonderful day, guys. Bye-bye.